Right, disclaimer. Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay, this is a continuation of the RPF's RPF creation, and this is under physical maltreatment. E is an echo, sleeping conditions. Beyond these real and immediate issues related to hygiene and medical care, many people spoke about issues related to sleep. They complained in retrospect about their sleeping conditions, the conditions of the mattresses, ventilations in the rooms, crowded conditions, and inappropriate sleeping areas. From different times and different locations, people spoke about the deplorable condition of the mattresses on which they had to sleep. This includes the children. Remembering the circumstances for sleeping on the Apollo, Dale recounted that we were given mattresses, but the mattresses we were given were old, filthy mattresses that had to be cleaned up. A lot of them smelled. Reflecting on our period of grueling work shifts, Pat recalled that when our 30 hours were up, we'd get to sleep. We would go to the end of the roof of one of the buildings where it was cold and there were these damp, disgusting mattresses that we would just fall onto and sleep. Mattresses frequently rested either on the ground or the floor. Been telling you guys about the children with the mattresses. Children are more important. When, for example, Robert Vaughn Young was in isolation in a converted chicken coop on the Gilman Hot Springs property, he indicated that there were some old mattresses that got thrown down on the floor. You know, you talk about a crash pad. Adele Hartwell was one of the Indio facilities at the same time that her daughter was there. At the same time her daughter was there. In the RPF. Someone in charge of the RPF presumably put the mattresses of the RPF people outside, and around the same time the daughter fell ill. During the heat of the day, I would see her moving her mattress from one shady spot to another to try and keep out of the blazing sun in 115-degree heat. Isn't that heat sickness? I forget what, there's 3 different kinds. I have never seen illness treated this way. Like the sick daughter, Vic Asnaran may have meant that her mattress was not on a frame when she stated that she and others were made to sleep on the ground. How many times have I talked about this with the children? Certainly accounts from the Fort Harrison RPF indicated that people slept on mattresses strewn on the floor, usually in cramped, poorly ventilated rooms. Ventilation was so bad, the first time that Monica Pignotti was on the Apollo's RPF, that we slept out on the decks on towels because it was so stuffy down there, and it was really horrendous conditions. Even when RPF members had beds or bunks, significant problems remained. While in an RPF program on a ship, Wollersheim and others were forced to sleep in the ship's hold. A total of 30 people were stacked 9 high in the hold without proper ventilation. At the Fort Harrison, Dennis Ehrlich and the other RPF inmates slept in bunks on the 3rd floor of the outer parking structure that adjoins the hotel. So they inhaled exhaust fumes from cars. Apparently the women's sleeping facilities were nearby because Anne Rosenblum wrote that. In December 1978, we were moved to a storage area in the garage. It was a partly wooden, partly cement enclosure built against one of the garage walls. It was built to be a storage area, But as the RPF grew so large, it was made the RPF girls' sleeping area. RPF girls' sleeping area. Remember all the reported sexual assaults of the girls. Wooden bunks were built that were about a half to 1/3 the size of a regular twin bed. The bunks were built 3 and 4 stacks high and were put in there side by side. Our mattresses were pieces of foam cut to fit the bunks. It was like crawling into a hole to get into your bed. You couldn't even sit up because of the bunk above you, and it was difficult to try to turn over because they weren't wide enough. The worst problem was that being in the garage, we inhaled all the car fumes when cars would go through, in addition to the noise of cars that people taking courses and staff would be making driving in and out. But nobody knows about this going on, right? Everybody's just completely memory wiped. It seems remarkable that health, zoning, or safety inspectors never discovered these inappropriate sleeping quarters at the Fort Harrison. But Hannah Whitfield explained all RPFers, like children, were practiced and skilled in transforming their normal RPF sleeping areas into what looked like a regular furniture storage space, and doing so in a very short period of time. They were hiding it. They were hiding it.